everyone. It's Jenifer Breaux, and I am just super excited to be here. And I hope you're as excited as I am, because tonight you are officially at my very first live show. Let's Talk Travel. And while it's my very first, it will not be my last. And I love to talk all things travel and travel related. So let's get started. I hope that when you leave tonight, my goal is that you love travel, or maybe you have a dream of travel. Maybe you're new to travel, but you have a hope of travel now. And so I want to talk about my new ebook that is dropping today. You're the very first people. Yay! Very first people that have my ebook. Or if you don't have my ebook, we'll talk about that soon. But I want you to have my ebook readily available tonight, because we are going to refer to it. We're going to talk about the page numbers that you should have. So if you have the ebook, open it up. Or if you're a handwriter like I am, I'm still back, I don't know, the 70s or 80s where we wrote things. We had typewriters back then. You can print it out, and I'll just let you know the page numbers when it's time. And if you don't have the ebook, just head on over to my website, iamjeniferbreaux.com. Sign up for my email list and we'll send it to you. So let's talk about getting inspired for travel. Now, I have a Pinterest board. I won't walk you through how to spell Pinterest, because I have to like pin, or is it P-interest? So pinterest.com/iamjeniferbreaux. Now, on my Pinterest board, I have several cities and I have different countries to help you get inspired, see the possibilities that are out there. And I also have blogs. If you go to iamjeniferbreaux.com, and you can see my little name, how it's spelled in the corner, because it's unusual. So you just type that in .com, and you'll see the blog heading at the top. And look for blogs. So they have some on specific cities like New York City, and they have some countries. So again, that will maybe inspire you, help you start dreaming, or maybe you have been traveling but are looking for someplace new, like the Seychelles, and you haven't been there yet. So maybe that will help you get inspired. You could even create your own Pinterest dream boards from the inspirations that you see around you, or some of the ones that I've written about. So I hope that gets you dreaming and excited about travel. Now, I know that we are going to talk about travel all night long, and I am so excited for you to meet the people that I have invited and are going to be here tonight. They are fantastic at what they do. They inspire me on the daily, and I follow them for a reason, because I love to talk travel. I love to hear people's journeys. I love to see new places that they've been, or even how they've experienced it, maybe differently from how I've experienced it. So it's every part of every day that I have. I love breathing it, talking it, eating different food from what I grew up on. I love to be surrounded by culture and travel. So you're going to have a fabulous show tonight, or show with me tonight. Hey, Val, it's good to see you today. So let's talk about the travel book. Is a book that you're going to be able to refer to every time you travel. And I'll tell you why, because I've hidden in there a packing list. So it wasn't just the ultimate top 10 travel tips, but I had to give you a little bonus, and it is a packing list. So there's a 2-page packing list included from me to you as a little bonus, but there's also pages. So when we talk to some of the panel tonight, you'll be able to take some notes on additional items that you might want to pack. And one of the people that we're talking to is a designer. I'm so excited. I wear his clothes all the time. So you are going to want to take some notes when he comes up. So I want to get to our very first panelist, and his name is Erik Wise. And I have been wearing his clothes for over a year. I've known him for a year, and ever since I met him, I've fallen in love with him every time I go to see him. I've worn his clothes. I wear his clothes I don't want to say around town, but I do wear his clothes around town. I wear his clothes when I'm traveling. They're so easy. They're colorful. I love color, and I just love Erik as well. Now, Erik has been the founder and lead designer for Urban Native since 2014. That's when the company started. And it started in Nigeria, West Africa. And it brings together those global traditions along with coastal and urban styling. And really, they're just fabulous. But he also celebrates diversity and international cultures through each design. He's designed and created custom couture pieces for many years. In 2020, he started a new chapter with the brand, and he opened his own boutique in West Shore Plaza. In 22, they expanded again with the brand with Urban Native Black Label, a sophisticated and elevated collection of fine designs and accessories. Erik has been honored to show his collections at fashion weeks across the United States, Latin America, and West Africa. I want to welcome Erik to the, whatever you call this, the stage. I don't even know. Before he joins us, I want to point out the pages that you should refer to. Page 7 is travel tip number 1, what to pack. Page 22 is the packing checklist. And page 24 is where you can take some notes. And you're going to want to do this when Erik talks. So welcome, Erik. I just want to clap because I adore you. I love you. You are fabulous.
Oh, you're very kind. Very, very sweet. There are customers that you love to see walk in, and then there are those you wish didn't. I'm always thrilled when you walk in the door.
Oh, you're so kind. Well, I have so many questions for you tonight. So I want to make sure that everybody gets to soak in your goodness, your fabulousness. And so I want to just start with, how did you get started in, what would be the question? How did you decide to be a designer, I guess? How did you get into designing?
I had been in mainstream retail for a number of years, managing national brand stores. And the chain stores that we know of had lost their personal touch. And there was customer service was less and less. It was very big box. No matter what the price tag was, things just got lost. And I got very tired of everything looking and feeling the same and getting no personal touch. I thought, I got to do better than this. And so I left and jumped into the deep end of the pool. It all kind of, I was doing individual things for customers, bridal parties, and et cetera. And then COVID hit and tanked us. There was no travel. There was no weddings. There was no anything. And so we had to do a shift. And that kind of led us through the mask era, which saved our tails. Went through the mask era, and from there went on back into more designing, and it became more hands-on with this. So here we are today, and excited that we're being able to do this kind of thing for everybody now.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, where do you get your inspiration for your collections?
I have a home in West Africa, in Nigeria, and have been going since 1999. And the color and the vibrancy of that culture has an influence on everything that I do. I live in a coastal area, so when you take that vividness that comes from the tribal vibe and you mix it with a coastal vibe, and I'm a city boy, so I take those 3 elements and put those all together, and I get something that's a little more unique. So that's actually where the name of our brand came from, taking the native, whatever that may be, whether it's African or Caribbean or Indonesian, and mixing it with an urban context and putting them together. You have urban native. And that's kind of where all this came from.
I love that. I love how your story is the name of your brand, and it's part of your brand and part of who you are. And it definitely comes through in your collections. I can see it on everything that I wear. It's imprinted and marked with your culture and your life. Like, I love the piece that you're wearing tonight. It's
Oh, I didn't even know. Yes.
it's gorgeous.
I don't do much subtle. I mean, in olive green, even this is a duster. It goes to the floor. So, I mean, it can be solid, but it can't be subtle.
Why live, darling? Why live? I wanted to talk about the types of garments that you would recommend for people when they start out building their travel wardrobe. What would you recommend if people are just starting out?
There's some basics that you really need. At least 40% of my clientele are travelers, and then they become regulars. When they're coming in looking for things, that it needs to pack easy, it needs to not wrinkle easy, and it needs to be versatile. Those are key elements. You never know what you're going to wind up. If you're in Paloma and all of a sudden you're invited on a wine tour, you need comfortable shoes. So, and you want that yoga style pant that I could throw heels on right after I've had sneakers on walking through the vineyards, and then I can throw the heels on, change the jewelry, throw a duster over it. And now I'm good for dinner. So you need those versatile pieces. That's the first thing you need to look at. Is knitwear is the hot trend for travel. Elevated knit.
Can you give some examples of that? Because I was going to ask you about what are the trends popping for 24 and 25.
Like this in case in point, a duster gives. You're going on an airplane. They're not going to give you a blanket anymore. Mm-hmm. Barely even in first class. You're not going to get anything to knock that off. So you need something you can take on the plane that can double as a blanket. So a duster, a full-length duster, doesn't matter if you're tall, short, wide, thin, that duster is going to be your friend. And every body type works in it. So you can use it to cover up with, you can use it for the elements when you get off the plane, or if you're leaving Chicago and going to Key West, it's going to be cold when you leave and warm when you get there. So you need something that can transition. And people don't want to pack as much, especially if you're going on these trips that you have to put it all in your backpack and you're not checking baggage unless you're paying a fee. So you want to make sure you're picking things that can be used for more than one item.
Do you think that there's hot trends in colors or colors that we should stay away from?
I'm a color guy, so I'm going I'm wanting brights. I'm going to want colorful. I want prints. Some people are afraid of prints because they don't know how to wear them, or they'll think that because I'm this body type or I'm tall or because I'm short, I can't wear this or that. It's not that you can't, it's how you wear them. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want an all over print, if you're 4'11", you bold big print, you'd want to keep that to the top half. Or ideas, work with your stylist, work with your designer, and that's their job. And they'll make you look fabulous and keep you away from things that might not work as well as you would want them to.
Oh, that's a fabulous tip.
Everybody, just because you want it to doesn't mean it will.
That's a great tip. So what about fabrics? Because I noticed you said this might we're having to use less. The airlines just upped their fee to $40 for a first checked bag.
Right.
So we might have to, and sometimes you have to pay for the overhead bag. So we want to do more with less. What kind of fabrics would travel better?
A knit with a little bit of lycra in it. So like a 90-10 blend, and that can be a knit, or it can actually be even some of the new chiffons are coming out with a lycra. So that lycra eliminates some of the wrinkling. Or if it does wrinkle, you can put it in the restroom and turn the shower on, let it steam up, and that'll all fall out.
Oh, wow. That is a great tip. Now, I know so if I was going for, let's say, a 4-day week, 4-day vacation, I have my duster, some pieces that might interchange with it. What would you recommend?
that yoga style pant with a little fuller leg, transitions
Okay.
like we talked about, you can throw that over it. Now you've got a set, the duster over that with just a camisole or a little tank. And that
Oh,
transitions very well. Change out the color of the cami, make it printed. Bring one that may be a little sequin or
oh,
sparkly, so you can dress it up a little bit. Take those basic pumps that you've worn to the office. And I know this may seem 1980s era retro, but I'm telling you, a little brooch toe clip, all of a sudden those pumps are now an elegant evening shoe. And all you did was add a clip on the toe.
man, that's fabulous. And that made it so compact for my carry-on bag.
Right. You're adding elements to existing pieces. You could have a beautiful sheath dress that is black or navy or a neutral khaki, and just start adding gold jewelry and a little shawl, some lightweight, sparkly shawl over that. All of a sudden, it's an elevated evening event.
And you have some beautiful dusters. I call them kimonos, but they're
Kimonos.
floor length. Yeah.
Yeah.
With some fabulous prints on it.
Oh, I love prints.
I love them. I took them to my trip to Great Britain in September, and I just had a little black dress, but I could change out the kimono because I didn't want to wear the same kimono.
Perfect.
Because I don't like to do that. So I guess I'm a little whatever. But you have some fabulous ones. So I just wore the same sheath dress and changed out the kimono because they're so lightweight.
And it looks like you packed like Devereaux from Dynasty.
But it was easy because if you have the same sheath dress, the kimono's lightweight with a different pair of earrings, and it looks like you packed two outfits.
Exactly. And you get more mileage that way. Even those kimono dusters, pull them together, throw a belt around them, and now it's a dress.
Didn't even think of that.
Just crisscross it over in the front, throw the belt over it, maybe roll the sleeve or do something, put a rubber band around the sleeve and poof it up. Play with it. Don't be afraid to have fun and try and experiment.
I love it. Now I'm gonna have to try that this weekend. I have to do a date night with my husband so I can try it.
We all need a guinea pig.
Yeah, he's gonna be it. I have a reason now to take my husband out just so I can try this dress idea.
Exactly.
I absolutely love it. Now, shoes. I know that you're going to have a new line of shoes coming to your store. Let's talk about shoes. Like when we're packing, how many, like if I had my choice, listen, if I had my choice,
just for the shoes.
Yes. My husband looks at me when we're going for a week trip because I have to have like 2 or 3 flats. I do one pair of heels because I can't do that too much anymore. Then I have to do the ones for the pool because we got to have the pool shoes.
Of course.
And he's like, "Are you taking all of that?" Well, I wouldn't have put it in there. So then I have to pare it back. But let's talk about shoes for that for the 4-day weekend.
You need that good sandal. And luckily sandals can collapse pretty thin and you can pack them in a little nooch that's left in the bag. But you do need that heel. When I'm working with my clients, I talk about a 20-minute shoe, a 45-minute shoe, and a 2-hour shoe. So you need to figure out what the itinerary is so that you can make sure that, am I making an entrance? That's your 20-minute shoe. You're walking the red carpet. You're being in there. They're going to take pictures. I'm in it for 20 minutes. Once I sit down at the table, I'm changing them out to my 45-minute shoes. So I don't really have too many secrets about paring down for shoes because it is what it is. I mean, right. You have to have those shoes. You can get that basic nude, a nude low, even a kitten heel or a nice little wedge, because that nude shoe is going to go with a lot of things. And you know, if it's a nice classic nude heel, you're going to have a better opportunity to make it work with more things. But 100%, I've at least got a separate carry-on for my shoes, and I'm a guy. I mean,
It's a must.
it's one of those things. I mean, we have to pack accordingly.
Oh, Keandra says, yes, my shoes have time limits. LOL.
Right. Those shoes for the photographs, we've got to have those, at least 4 inches for the photographs, but they're coming off, baby, right after.
Oh, I don't think I ever owned 4 inches.
And that's conservative.
Listen, I was in the Army for 29 years. I did combat boots. So to put a kitten heel on was a big deal for me.
That's the reason your feet weren't trained appropriately.
I should complain to somebody. I don't know.
I can guarantee you Liz and all of her stature's got some 6 inches in them closet.
And she's already, 6 foot? I don't even know.
It's just one of those things. But a combat boot, I'll wear that combat boot in a New York Minute with this duster.
Yeah, now it's in style.
Right.
But back then I had to spit shine it. So, all right, now let's talk accessories. So we have the need for accessories. So we got our shoes, maybe a separate bag, according to several people, a separate bag to house our shoes. We got our duster, maybe a couple, so we can turn one into a dress. Right. Which thank you for that. Thank you for that idea. And I know you have belts in your boutique, which, darling, are fabulous. And I've even purchased some earrings and a handbag. But what do you think about that for our 4-day extended weekend trip?
Again, destination is key here. If we're going to Key West where everything is laid back, I'm not too much worried about it. I can take something, I can be more simple. I'm always going to have chunky jewelry. That's just the way it is. It doesn't mean that it doesn't translate. You could take something as earthy as this is, because it's a polished abalone. This could be elevated with the right, just change the earrings.
Okay.
If a lady's trying to put together a look, take something and add the abalone earrings with a little more drama to them in order to get that. You can take and elevate a look by just changing the way if you'll take something like this one right here, and I didn't plan to demonstrate, but this one is adjustable. So I can pull the little beads down here on the side, and this becomes a choker. Oh. So for evening, something like that would be astounding. And then you let it out, and it's a drop necklace, and it'll go even farther. It changes the dynamics of how it's being seen. It's going to be more casual, more laid back, bring it up to the choker level, and now it's a more of a bib collar piece, and it's a little more elegant.
Listen, I'll be there Friday. I'll be purchasing one of those. That is fabulous. I need it today in my life, because I love the versatility of it. And that's, I think, a piece that people would need to have, because you can wear it a couple different ways.
Right.
And I mean, jewelry doesn't need to, I'm not speaking personally, take up a lot of space in your luggage, but that's not me personally. It takes up a lot of space, but I love the versatility of it, because you can wear it a couple different ways.
That's kind of a niche for me when I design, whether it's creating or curating jewelry, or even in the garments, is I need them to do more than one thing if possible. If it's a separate, I need to know that you could wear this skirt with a t-shirt, even though it's a 2-piece set, or I can take the top part that comes with a skirt and blouse set, and now the top can be worn with a pair of jeans or a pair of trousers and get another look out of it. So I try to do things that have a little versatility to their existence, if at all possible. It doesn't work every time, but that's a goal.
I love that, because now I'm looking at my wardrobe so differently now that I'm listening to the designer. And that's what is fabulous when you meet a designer like Erik. When you get to talk to the designer firsthand versus going into, nothing wrong with big box, but when you work with a designer like Erik, he gets to explain to you how he made it, but how you can wear it different ways. I'm listening to him tonight, and I'm like, oh my God, I just got a pantsuit for him. Oh, that kimono that I got from now I can wear that as a dress. What? All right.
Got,
So
got that stripe
yes.
piece, and
Listen,
that
I love that.
that top with a knot in the hem and up on over a pair of jeans, and you've got an elegant day dress, day outfit.
Yeah,
So play with those kinds of things, and sometimes you have to step back and look at our wardrobe different than we purchased it. We purchased
that's a
it with
great.
one thing in mind, but it doesn't mean it won't do more than one thing.
But if I don't talk to you, the designer, I would have I'm not creative that way. I'm creative in different ways, and that's not where my creativity lies. So talking to you, the designer, blows my mind. It really like I'm like, whoo.
We're here to help. We're supposed to be here to help. We're supposed to give customer service. And let me tell you, in addition to your designer, not every designer is going to alter it for you, but they should be telling you if you need it altered, get you a good tailor. Um, it's essential. But just because it's beautiful, let's make it fit right too.
Yeah, I love that. And your pieces, and I'm all about color. Listen, Erik, I want to talk about your event coming up because it's fabulous. And I want to share that with everybody and how they can meet you in person, shop with you, have pieces made because Erik's making pieces for me too. Some designer suits because I just love his touch and his creativity. So let's talk about Friday. What's going on?
Well, we are relocating within the same mall. Uh, my feet hurt. Let's throw that in there. To a larger space. We've done a little shuffling here in the mall, and a space became available that is 3.5 times the square footage that we had where we were at. I'm going from 2 fitting rooms that were portable to 7 that are stationary. We have going up a 3,500 square foot boutique, and I am relocated my design studio on premises. So I'm able to create and work at the same time. So Friday night from 6 to 9, we are having our VIP grand opening event, red carpet. So this is like go in the closet, that thing I need a place to wear that. This is that. The photographer just called me right prior to this, and he said, listen, I realigned my schedule so that I can be here to hit the red carpet with the as a paparazzi. So the paparazzi is going to be here, and we have a literal red carpet. We're going to tear down the walls and just have a great time. I have a DJ set up that's going to be playing, and you're going to be here signing your book. So come in and see it. You're invited. Everybody's invited to come out 6 to 9. We're going to bust the doors open. We're going to have full energy, and we're going to have a great time. Listen, I made 5 gallons of sangria. So
Well, the sangria alone, you had me there. But Erik, I just love him. I love his designs. I love his personality. You're going to love him too, hopefully tonight, but come out in person, West Shore Mall, Tampa. Yes, walk the red carpet. It's
yes,
for all of us, darling. So come out and meet Erik.
strut. Come see us. Come see us. We'll have a great time. And I'm a little crazy, but that's the good possible
It's a
way.
good crazy. It's
Yes,
a good
yes.
crazy. Well, again, I just want to extend a huge thank you to Erik for sharing all his tips. Celebrate him. He has been on fashion weeks around the world. So I just want to say huge congratulations to you,
Thank you.
Erik, for you sharing your time with us tonight. I am ever so grateful for all the things that you do and just you being in this world. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you very much. It's been a joy to be here with you. I'll always talk fashion and travel because those are my 2 most happy things in the world. I mean, I literally I will travel to places where I can scout out fabric. Uh, that's Disneyland for me. So we're gonna have a great time.
Well, I love it. And all the knowledge that you have shared with everybody tonight. I just appreciate you. And I will see you on Friday.
I see everybody come see us. We'll have a great time. Promise.
All right. Thank you, Erik.
Bye now.
Bye. All right. Let's see. Okay, folks, I hope you took lots of notes from Erik. He is a true talent. And come out Friday, 6 to 9, between 6 to 9, West Shore Boulevard. His company is called Urban Native. You can also follow him on Instagram too, so you can see all the fabulousness that exists in this world. He is, thanks Stephanie for joining. He is just a true delight and a lovely human being in this world. And he's a giver of, he's very generous with his talents. And I know that you'll love him in person as you saw him here tonight. Now I'm so excited about the next two ladies coming up. I have followed them. Oh, I'm not even sure how long I've been following them, but there are two wonderful ladies and they each have a different kind of niche. And so I just want to, if you'll bear with me, I just want to share some highlights of both of them. There are two ladies. One is Ava Stritt and the other one is Kathy Fortner. So Ava is a top authority on luxury travel. Sorry, I'm just a little few butterflies in my stomach, but she is called the most influential person in the world regarding spa travel. And this is true. If you go to her Instagram at Spa Travel Girl, you will see all of these posts, one about the beautiful places that she has been, that she is inspiring people to travel, but you will see her influence that she has made on this world. Her followers will tell you that she is responsible for transforming the idea of just a spa day into a wellness adventure. And she's made a mark on spa vacations and adventure. So not just, oh, let's have a spa or a wellness trip. She's made it into an adventure. And I want to share one unique adventure that she took. She went hiking in these waterfalls in the rainforest of Ecuador for a massage surrounded by hummingbirds. Isn't that amazing? I just love that. She's the founder of Spa Travel Gal, and she's a member of Society of American Travel Writers and Wellness Tourism Association. That's Ava Stritt. Now, the other lady, and she was just entered the room. The other lady that I want to talk about is Kathy Fortner. And I just love her because she is so bubbly and she is very colorful in all of her Instagram posts. And I just love that about her. And she is a person who can be found at Confidence and Adventure. And she is a seasoned, confident content creator, and she represents the vibrant over 50 plus community. She has over 30 years of experience in the adventure travel business and travel gear expert. So she's on her Instagram also helping folks with travel gear. And I love that about her and all her quirkiness. I feel like we're kindred spirits. She also believes that travel is good for the mind and soul. 100% agree. And her followers are treated to a visual feast of colorful attractions, breathtaking landscapes, and fun, casual adventures, all while being inspired and encouraged to embark on their own journey of discovery. Welcome, Ava and Kathy. Thank you so much for being here. I am just so excited for you all to be here. For a quick moment, I have to let people know where they can take notes. So for those using the ebook, make sure you turn to page 17. There's plenty of space there to take notes. And you're going to want to hear from these ladies because they are fabulous. Welcome, ladies. I'm going to do a little clap around for you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. So I'm just going to start off right away with the first question of how did you get started in travel? Whoever wants to start first.
I'll go. As a child, my mother used to travel the world as an educator to study education in many countries. She usually, because it was work, would go by herself. So I knew my mother was sleeping in a thatched hut on the Bay of Bengal or something like that. She would come home, and of course, we had that stack of National Geographics. Well, while she was so excited that I was reading them from front to back every night, I was actually looking for the afternoon tea at the Ritz instead of the educational stuff. So So I watched my mother follow her dreams and travel the world, and that's really how I got excited about travel.
Kathy?
Hi, it's nice to see you, Jennifer. So, I always loved travel ever since I was little. When I was little, I used to go to the library and pick up books and stuff and National Geographics. And I remember I used to hide them underneath my pillow. And when I was supposed to be sleeping, I would take these books out and look at all these travel magazines. Well, when I was about 20, I tried to get a job as a flight attendant, but that didn't work out for me. So, in our area we have a adventure store, and in the store we do what we teach in the store. So I went and got a job there, and I was going to school, so I worked there, and that gave me the opportunity to talk to people and help people with their travels every day. So eventually I became the clothing buyer at the store.
Oh,
And I've been doing that for probably 27 years. So every day I get to talk to people about travel. Me and my husband travel every month. And so it's just a joy. I just love it. I love everything about travel. I love talking about it and everything. So,
I feel you. My parents had this set of books, and it was like the 7 or 8 wonders of the world. Each one contained a location,
uh-huh.
and I would dream about that as well. I am probably the same as you. Although I didn't have National Geographic, I must have missed out on the sale of those.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to ask, how do you bring people into the experience of seeing the world and what it adds to their life? How do you do that through your, how do you go about doing that?
You through my everyday life or through my social channel?
Okay.
No, which way? No, is it, do you mean like,
Oh,
oh,
I was like, oh, is that how you do it? I guess you could say in your social channel, maybe, or
okay.
yeah.
Okay, so I try to do, like, when I do my pictures, I try to do them real colorful, and I try to, like, even if it's a picture, I try to have a lot of action in the picture. Like, even though the picture's not moving, I try to do a lot of movement. And I feel like when you're doing a post or something, I feel like carousels are important because people actually stop and look at carousels when you're doing a post. And it actually gives, so you got 10 slides on a post, so actually gives them the opportunity to get more than just like a quick reel where everything's going so fast, and you do like carousels where they can kind of see the whole experience through the whole post on there. And I actually get like a lot of, I'm sure Ava does too, but you get like a lot of conversation going. If you can get people to start with conversation, so that's a good way to get people involved in what you're doing too.
I like to get people down to the basic. I don't think a lot of people understand why to travel. I was talking to Samantha Brown the other day. Many of you know Samantha Brown. We were having a chat on the phone, and what we were thinking about, you know how babies think everything's new, everything's funny. Well, why do we have that wonder that in us when we travel? It's because everything's new, everything's different. And that's when I started talking about unique experiences. When you travel, everything's new. I mean, it's just like having that newborn awe that you don't really get these days just going to the grocery store. So I really want to inspire people to get out and do different things. But you know, you can do that in your own backyard too.
That's interesting. Yeah, you're right. We do discover things when, even if you are going to the same location, you could go to a different resort. You could travel to a different spa, or you could do a different excursion. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, because I think what we all learned in the past few years is that you can discover things. Like I started traveling more in the US, and there's a lot of places, like take Moab, for example. It looks like an alien like planet. And I just started exploring more in the US and realized that we are so big and we offer a lot, that there's things to see here. And then a lot of people explored more in their own county, their own state. There's things that we just should get out and see. We shouldn't assume that everything's the same just because we think it is. I mean, you can just go to a multiple state parks and see how different they all are in my state.
Yeah, that is so true. Like last weekend I was in St. Petersburg and I'm like, why don't we come over here? There's so much to do.
Yeah, there's a lot to do there.
Yeah, there's so much to see. That is so true. I wanted to ask, where do you get your inspiration from to try someplace new or go someplace? Where do you just, like, how do you go about trying someplace?
Well, I talk to people, a lot of people, and every day I talk to people about travel, but I'm sure that you guys do too. And I learned so much from the people that come into the adventure store. I mean, I get people all the way from beginners to people that have been doing it for, 20, 30 years. And I get excited by what they tell me. And sometimes there's a place, like you said, right up the street and you never even knew it was there, or an hour and a half away and you never even know that place was there. So me and my husband, a lot of times just hop in the car for a weekend and we'll go to Punta Gorda. We just went to Punta Gorda and we stayed at the Sunseeker. And yeah, are you guys familiar with the Sunseeker?
No.
Oh, it's a brand new luxury resort in Punta Gorda, and it was basically a sleepy town, and now they have this amazing new resort there. So, you jump in the car and you go out and you discover things like that, which is amazing. So then that's things you can share with your friends later. So,
I love that.
yeah.
Yeah, like a nice surprise.
Yeah. Always a surprise. Everywhere you go, there's a surprise.
How about for you, Ava?
I think when I'm choosing a place, I try to think about who's going. With my husband and I, if we're both going, it has to be a place he can fly fish, and they have to have a spa for me. If the dogs are going with us, we have to look at rooms that they're older dogs that you can walk in and out of and that are dog friendly. I was just found the perfect place. Well, I've been a few times, the Greenbrier in West Virginia. It's a very historic place, but I just took my mother and my daughter and myself, and I think the three of us, all three, thought it was the perfect place. So you just find places that have something for everyone.
That rarely happens. It's very hard to find when you're trying to.
Yeah.
And that was multi-generational. So it's difficult to do that. I know I have 2 kids with special needs. So am I taking them, or is it just a mom-dad trip, or am I bringing my mom along with all of us? It becomes, you have to have a list or know places or how to narrow it down.
Definitely.
Yeah. How did you go about choosing who you're going to serve? Like, I know you're with the over 55 community. You're definitely spa and health and wellness. So how did you decide that you were going to serve that community?
I knew that it was missing on social media. I knew somebody serving in this area was missing on social media. So that's why I decided to do the 50 plus. There's a lot of younger people on there. I think the majority of people on social media are, younger than, 50. So it was a need. It was something that needed to be done. So I decided that I was going to do that. So, I think it's very important. I think it's important to have somebody that somebody who's over 50 can look at, that looks just like them, that's not, going out every night and posting themselves partying and staying out late and stuff like that. People want to see people that look like them. Yeah, so I thought it was an important thing that needed to be covered. So
and represented, because
absolutely.
they're traveling. Yes, they're traveling still. They have the money. They want adventures, and sometimes it's local, sometimes it's worldwide. Sometimes it's cruises. It's whatever they want to do, and definitely represented.
Right. And
agree.
I think a lot of companies too, like let's say we have a clothing line, and it's really for somebody who's over 40 or over 50, and then they have a model and the model's 25 years old. Well, I'm not gonna buy that. It's well, wait a minute, maybe not. It kind of confuses people.
Yeah.
I think a little bit. It just isn't. They need to, whoever they're trying to serve, they need to use more models that fit that brand.
Yeah.
I don't think brands realize that.
Right.
So
I think it's maybe slowly getting there. They're realizing there's different body types now,
sure, yeah.
but maybe not generational yet. Maybe
Right,
it's slowly
right,
getting there. Yeah.
right.
How about for you, Ava? How did you?
Well,
Um,
I started out way like in 2008 or 9 on Twitter when no one even knew what social media was.
no.
I had an intern at my desk job who was in marketing, and she started telling me about, this thing called Twitter, and I jumped on there. And you kind of, at that time, you had a persona. Well, my persona was my inner voice that while I'm sitting at a boring desk working all day, I was thinking about skincare products and going to the spa. So that's just what it became. And then after that, I just kind of spread out. I started doing the travel because traveling to spas. And then again, during our last few years, the COVID years, I started doing more lifestyle. And then it just expanded. And the more I traveled, the more I find unique experiences. And so to me, I keep mine very broad. But
Okay.
people ask me sometimes, how did you decide to do this? What does that have to do with your brand? I'm like, it's just me. It's just me.
Well, I think your brand is wide enough, but people aren't realizing that spa isn't one day. Wellness isn't one day. Wellness is a lifestyle. It's a choice.
Oh, and that's one of the best things that has happened in the last few years. It used to be when I would talk about spas, people would say, I used to say, "You're going to the spa." People kind of kept it hush hush because they felt like it was a thing that you should, oh, la-di-da, you're just being kind of flamboyant. But now if you say you're going to a spa or a wellness retreat, people go, good for you. I need to do that too. So that's been really good to see that transition.
It is, and people's mindset has changed about it, because I know people are and maybe it came out of COVID. I'm not sure, but
it moved it forward quicker is what it did.
I agree with that. People are spending more money on health and wellness.
Mm-hmm.
People are doing self-care more. I think that maybe came out of COVID too, because maybe it was too much time together. I'm not sure what that was, but people need that. People realize that they need maybe mental health. People need health of the body. And I'm glad that they did that, because it shouldn't be taboo that we are working on ourselves. We should accept that.
And I learned a lot of things on these trips that I bring back to what I do in everyday life, or how I look at things, whether it's going to Canyon Ranch and meeting with a dietitian. I bring that home with you. I'm still connected with doing some things I learned there years ago, or I'm getting ready to go for the second time to another one of Ted Turner's ranches.
Okay.
He has the Sierra Grande down in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, that has the hot springs. Because we know I love thermal water, because that's what I spoke about in France last year. But and if you're not a spa person, think about other places you can go and bring stuff home, or increase your knowledge in an area. Ted Turner also has Vermejo Ranch, and it's all about preserving the environment and saving everything. So it really makes you think, and you get to see the earth the way it was, the way it should be if we didn't come around and do everything to it. So a lot of travel can just change, broaden the way you think.
I've been to Truth or Consequences when I was
Oh,
stationed out near there in
yes.
the military. It is the way the earth was made. There's not a bunch out there. So I'm curious about that. But I have a client now, they're going on a 14-day trip. It's a cruise, but they wanted the thermal package to access that every day. So everyday people, it's part of their life for the husband and the wife. So it's something that they do together, and you're seeing that more and more.
It's very popular in Europe. I work with historic thermal towns of Europe, and we had a World Congress on thermal tourism in Nancy, France, last November. And it was just I've traveled with them before and went to some of the thermal spas in Europe, but to see the government and all the officials from all over Europe to come in, I felt like I was at some place with ambassadors and, leaders that they take all this very seriously. There is something to it. And when you look at all the ingredients, all the minerals that are in all this thermal water, they don't heat their thermal water either. It comes straight
Mhm.
up. They use it just like that, and it's been going on since the Romans. And when you look at the minerals, then you see, well, those are minerals that are in my vitamins, that certain aspects have become medicines. So if you soak in it every day, I mean, the children do it. You do feel good. I'm telling you, you don't even, you could give up a few glasses of bubbles and feel just as good sometime in some of this water.
I wanted to ask. Well, I have been to the Roman baths because I just did that in September, and it's interesting how we still use some of their things today. But I can't get in cold water, girl. That's not me. I need my water like
So
bath water if I'm going to go in the
up
pool.
hot. It comes up.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm just checking
Mhm.
for a friend, allegedly, for me. Um, I wanted to ask you all, what is the most unique experience that you've had while traveling?
You already mentioned mine. I think
I thought that was fabulous.
hiking in
I
the
love it.
rainforest, hiked all week, and then all of a sudden they show me all the hummingbirds, and I'm like, if you would have showed this to me the first day, I'd have never left this little area. And I'm got mud boots on, and then a robe with mud boots, hiking out, and then got to a waterfall, and that you can hear them going around your head. Yeah,
Wow.
that was special and unique, and it was not something that some people would say. It was luxurious in a different way. I mean, I was dirty, muddy all week long in the rainforest and wet with my hair had frizzed out, to here. But to just do that in that location, nature is amazing. Nature is amazing. I guess to add on to that, though, we got to be there with the environmentalists as they discovered a new species of frog. We weren't even allowed to say anything because for a while, now we can.
That I
Things
can't even.
surprise me. You'll surprise yourself when you travel, what you'll learn that you really love, and it's not what you might have thought. You don't become very narrow-minded when you travel. You really open up that path.
I love it. Absolutely love it. And I'm a huge animal person. So that is that's just absolutely the cherry on the top. That's amazing. How about you, Kathy? What's one of your most unique experiences?
So one of the a recent thing that me and my husband did is we went to Jamaica and we were supposed to go on a casual hike. Okay, so
I, I
you
feel
know,
like it's
yeah. So we were supposed to go on this casual hike, and we ended up actually like crawling on the ground, skipping over stones in the water. We were getting soaking wet, and we were actually grabbing vines, climbing up these mountains. And I tell people about this all the time because I've never experienced anything like that. It's one of those things where you can't stop talking about because you feel like you're like in an adventure movie. like you're an adventure star when you're doing something like that. And when you're doing it, you don't think you can do it. And then after the 3 hours, you finish it and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did this. You know? So that's one of the recent most unique experiences that I've ever done. So
I would ask for my money back. I'm not down for that.
yeah, we actually went to the place who sold us the day trip, and we told them, we're like, you guys are telling people this is easy. This is not easy, you know. So we thought that they probably needed to change that description there on that.
Most definitely. And I bet you ended
Yes.
up covered in mud too.
Yes, we
Well,
absolutely we did.
I will say though that the place we were at was Moshby Lodge in Ecuador in the rainforest. There were a few times that my husband continued on with the hike, and I was lifted out of the rainforest. And it was a special, kind of conveyor thing, but I felt more like I was lifted out in one of those things you see people getting rescued in. Well, there was another couple in it. And then another night I met another couple, and man, I am still connected with those other couples and
That's
still do things
awesome.
with them. People you meet when you travel, that's one of my things I like to say. I have interesting people in my everyday life. But
Um,
you do meet some interesting people when you travel
you
because
do.
now they're like-minded, they're like you.
Yeah.
And I still, every time I go to Denver, I see one of the ladies I met in the rainforest. And every time I'm traveling somewhere, the one from Arizona and I, we will make sure we meet up. So it's just, once you've done something like that, Kathy, I bet you will never forget your time.
No, never. And I love telling people that story. And I can remember it as clear as day.
Yep.
Oh
So
my goodness.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. So is there a destination that you can think of that you would go back to? It's hard because I know we've all traveled a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. There's a lot of places in Florida that you discover and you love that you want to go back to. Yeah, places right down the road. Like recently we went to St. Augustine. I love it. I didn't want to leave. I want to
Yes.
go back. It's yeah, there's places. Yeah, I know.
I
I
love
mean,
that place.
yeah, it's amazing. So, God, there's so many.
I keep
Yeah.
finding myself back in Germany. My mother's family has German roots.
Yeah.
And a little place called Baden-Baden, Germany, that's very big in the thermal spa culture. And I went 10 years ago with my mother. I went back this past fall, and I got to get my daughter there. And on our multi-generational trip this weekend, we realized each of us had a fashion item on that had come from Baden-Baden, Germany. So it was just kind of random. We looked down. So that this thing, there's something just draws you back to certain places. You don't have to explain why. It just does.
Well, travel changes you. I feel like your makeup, your DNA, and
Yeah.
it's just in you that you have to, it pushes you or it pulls you forward to some other place.
You don't have to label it. You don't have to know why.
Yeah. How about you? So I'm trying to think for me, I don't, a lot of places I can only go once. Like I went to Vietnam and Cambodia. That's a once in a lifetime go and visit. I thought Alaska would be that way because I'm not a very cold person, but now my oldest is, hey, can we go back? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Because I feel like I saw that. I had to wear a jacket the whole time. I'm not sure I want to do that again. So
Oh, and some places are so big you can't see it all, or you realize
right.
give yourself enough time. We stayed at Finch Bay Resort in the Galapagos, and it takes a lot of effort to get there. That was combined.
Yes.
It's off of Ecuador, and that took.
Mhm.
I had a friend say, if you go to Ecuador, you got to go to the rainforest, Moshby Lodge. So that took some of our days, but now we realize Galapagos has all the different islands and so many animals. That's another one of those places that has a very unique feel, vibe. You just can't explain it, until you get there. Animals rule there.
Oh, really?
They do, but that's
For life if you even look at one wrong.
no, but you're talking about at least a week and a half. And I don't even know if you could do all of the Galapagos, but that's just for the Galapagos. That's not anything else with Ecuador.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Ecuador has so many different climate zones. Their farmers markets, their markets are amazing. They'll have pineapples. They can grow pineapples or 20 kinds of potatoes because of the different elevations. They have just so many different climates. They can grow everything within the country. So when you're eating something, it tastes so much fresher. And the equator is there. And
Yeah.
it's not even that hot on the equator. That was something I learned. Every day on the equator in Ecuador, it rains every afternoon, and then it cools it off. So it does take the temperature up. And then every day about, is it noon or 2 o'clock? I forget. But
Yeah.
like every day.
It's refreshing though. I want to talk about your favorite thing to travel with. What is one, okay, or two, I'll let you even have two. What is one or two things you can't live without when you're traveling?
So does it have to be a fashion piece or something that?
No, it could
Okay.
be, I don't know, like, I like to take my date timer, even if I don't know, it's like something I must have.
Your day timer. Okay. God, that's tough.
I'm old. I know. I'm old fashioned. I write things.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say I have about 30 pairs of prescription glasses, and I have to take at least 10 of those glasses with me when I travel. And I'm not sure
Oh
why
my
I have
gosh.
to, but I love, like you with your shoes, I love my glasses. So that's my thing.
I do love my sunglasses, and I have about 5 pairs that are just alike because they went, out. You can't get them anymore. But I love travel so much. I think I pack heavy. I'm not a light packer. But I think if you just gave me my cell phone, some cash and credit cards, what else? And my passport, and I'll go anywhere with just that if that's my only choice.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Sunglasses. Yeah. Sunglasses for me. I like hats too. Like I like to have a couple of hats.
Y'all need to know about
That's good. That's a
Wallaroo.
good one.
Yeah.
I do. I take 1 or 2 Wallaroo hats with me everywhere I go. It's this company out of Boulder, Colorado, and the Cancer Foundation actually gives them an SPF. So
Oh,
yeah, so
I like that.
some of it I think it has to do with the material, and some of it with how wide the brim is.
Okay.
Take one of those everywhere now, and I used to not be a hat person, but I am now. Give me a hat and a pair of sunglasses, it can make up for a lot.
Yeah. I can't leave without sunnies, but also hats.
Yeah.
I love to, if we go to the South, we do some all-inclusives with the kids. I like to hang out at the pool a lot longer than I can really be in because of my light skin. So I like to play around in the pool. So I always have a hat for my face. And let's see, I also, so hats, sunnies, and shoes probably. I like to have an assortment of shoes. Because you got to have the pool ones. You got to have the ones going to dinner. You got to have your bop around ones. And Kathy, I just adore all your glasses. I love them.
Thank you.
And
I love them too.
They're so adorable. I want to go back. Let's go back a ways. I know we're all over then.
Oh yeah, we're fascinators.
Fascinators. I love a fascinator.
Fascinators. I've been looking for one. Oh, Teresa, reach out to me. I need one for an upcoming tea.
Yeah, I just went to a tea. I wore hats because I have a lot of hats, but people were wearing fascinators now. So I guess with all the royalty and the last few years with the royal wedding, people have been knowing what fascinators are.
Okay, so what is a fascinator?
It's like a headband, but you can barely see it, and it has like a hat or the hat's off to the side.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's a headband, so it makes it easier. Or
Okay.
sometimes maybe it's not on a headband, and maybe it just clips to your head.
Okay. I know what that is. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, she got hers on Amazon. Oh, that's funny. What is the first trip that you ever took that made you fall in love with travel? I don't want to date y'all. Just you don't have to tell us what year it was or anything.
We started taking our kids to Disney a lot because we used to live in Georgia and get treated like we were from Florida sometime. And I think that's really what did it. And then as the kids got older and I was able to expand it. But when I went to the Galapagos, it's like I was reborn as a traveler. Yeah.
Okay, so for me, it was when I know you're going to think this is funny, but me and my husband went to Boston and we decided to go on this whale boat out of the Boston, the aquarium. And it took us like 3 hours to get out there. When we got out there, we were surrounded by 37 whales. So for me, that was exciting for me. And my husband was actually crying because he was so emotional
Ooh.
over what he saw. So we love that. And yeah, that was like we that's another trip we talk about all the time. We just love that. So
I absolutely love Boston. There's so much history there. Some you can do on your own. You can walk the Freedom Trail there.
yeah.
Here's a good tip for Boston. I believe it's Boston. You can sit in a bar and drink a Sam Adams beer while you look across the street at his grave.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a unique thing to do.
I was going to say there is a docent, I think maybe not, that gives you free tours of that, was that church that's right there. So, I mean, there's some things that, like you said, the whales, but we even did the little touristy thing where you throw over the tea. Like I'm doing all the touristy things.
Uh-huh.
I've heard they do that all day. They're throwing tea all day, every day for the tourists.
I know. I'm sure they get tired. But I'm like, hey, get my picture. Get my picture. I love it. I love it. Mine started when I was 9. We always went camping, but my love started when we went to our very first overseas trip. So it started very, very young. What is the most, so we talked about when we had our very first exposure, but what would you say is your very first unique experience? Yeah, I'm trying to think now too, now that I'm asking that question.
There's so many, I can't think of the first. Kathy?
Yeah. Gosh. Oh. I will tell you, I was 36 years old before I went on my first cruise.
Okay.
So I know it's a cruise, but I mean, I loved it. I love cruising. That's one of my favorite things to do. I love cruising, going on cruises. So, but yeah, it wasn't what I expected. It was much grander.
What did you expect?
Oh gosh, I expected it to be crowded and like having like two little lanes, like you walk on 2 little lanes, someone's on this side and someone's on the other side, and you have to pass them. And so that's what I expected. But yeah, it was much grander than what I thought.
One of the most unique things I did, and a friend kind of had to talk me into it. It was going on a private barge canal tour. The company's Barge Lady Cruises. Barge Lady Cruises, they've had that same name forever. It's not very, that's what they named it. And it's something you can't really explain. So you'll have to look up Barge Lady Cruises, and you're in this old barge that's been turned into a luxury boutique hotel. It only has like 4 rooms in it, and you go up and down. Like in France, you can do all these different countries, and you just kind of do what you want, but you go out in the cities that are the little towns. You can ride a bike, or you can walk, or they'll shuttle you in a van, and you see, I think that's one of the things I've been trying to tell people. don't go to the main cities if you go to a country, because they're really crowded right now. So the last few times I've been to France, I didn't even fly into Paris. I stayed totally away from it. Been there, done that. I go to all the little small towns in Germany and France and places when I go, and like Truth or Consequences. I just wrote something about that town the other day, and I was like, go soak for the afternoon and then get out to the Truth or Consequences brewery and take in that alien vibe. So it's getting to be more well known now, Kathy. I mean, Jenifer, you need to go back, because I think Virgin Atlantic, that's where they send up their rockets, and they get getting a lot of influx of people now.
That is really wild to me, because there was nothing there.
There's still there. But there's more people.
You're probably surprised that I even know where it's at, but yeah, I was stationed in El Paso.
Well, sorry. It was originally called Hot Springs. Do you know how it got the name Truth or Consequences?
No, I have no idea.
Old game show that started out on the radio, and then it went to TV, and it was such a big deal that they said if any town will change their name to Truth or Consequences, they will come there and film the show. And they were called Hot Springs, New Mexico, which would be a better marketing name.
That would be appropriate. Yeah.
And they changed it Truth or Consequences. And that's where Ted Turner Reserves has a couple of ranches. And then the one with the hot spring places is the Sierra Grande.
So fascinating. There's a lot of small towns around there.
And there's some wineries in New Mexico.
There are wineries, yes. And they also have the Hatch chili. Yeah, right near there. Yes. And they have a festival celebrating the Hatch chili.
And we learned about, if they always ask, do you want red or green chili? And if you want both, you just say Christmas, and they think you're a regular, say Christmas when they ask if you want red or green.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
My husband and I actually have property in New Mexico, so when we retire, we're going to move there when we retire.
Close to, Kathy?
Albuquerque.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's close to Albuquerque. It's a little bit out of the ways, more kind of out into the more secluded area, but.
So you like the dry heat versus the heat in Florida?
Well, I love Florida. My husband loves New Mexico. I like New Mexico, but I think he loves it a little bit more than I do.
Well, I keep getting drawn back there, but
I know.
One end to the next. I mean, when you get up to northern New Mexico above Taos, you think you're in Colorado, where my daughter lives now. So, and then you get all the way south, and it's very deserty. You stop at the rest area off the interstate, and there's big signs telling you when you go in to go potty to look out for rattlesnakes.
Yeah. I know it's very magical, New Mexico.
It gets cold at night, though, I will tell you that, but it was beautiful even through Christmas time, because it was 70s, upper 70s, 80s. I know when I was in El Paso for a few years, it was beautiful, but 113, 115 in the summer.
Yeah. The first time I was there was Santa Fe, and I couldn't understand why, when they were walking us through the Four Seasons, telling us that our casita floors would heat up at night. I'm thinking, how odd. Then I found out why.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We had that kind of heating when I lived in Korea. We lived in the village, and they called it ondol heating. So the water ran through the pipes on the floor. But when we get up in the morning, the air was so cold. We had like this space heater to warm up the area. So my husband would jump out, turn on the heater, jump back into bed. And then about 15 minutes later, it would be warm enough for me to get out and get a shower. But it was, it was so cold. But they're used to sleeping on the floor. So that's why floor is heated. Because they would sleep on the floor, the traditional sleeping. So. Well, I want to ask if you have any travel advice for the new global traveler, any kind of advice that you might give someone that's just jumping into traveling abroad.
I would say, especially when you're abroad, but this is any trip, be sure to leave lots of extra time for each day. One, the main reasons is resting. I get jet lag really bad, even if I'm traveling in the US. On different time zones really mess me up. So you will need random times where you just need to be down. But also you will discover things you didn't realize because I mean we don't learn everything by googling it on the internet. You'll discover, oh, you'll be going to your guided tour and you see a cafe that doesn't look like anything you can get here, with these French pastries in it or something, just little things. So don't just leave big buffers, leave big spaces of time on your trip.
I agree. And like Erik said, bring comfortable shoes. I know you want to look great in everything and run around and take your pictures in your great looking shoes, but you have to have comfortable shoes. And an important thing for me is to have an extra bag for the dirty laundry. So that's an important travel tip for me. I tell people that all the time when we talk about it. But yeah, shoes is the most important for me. So
I agree with both of you. Even some folks that I've been helping will build in an extra day because sometimes the itinerary has them. I want to see this in Rome. I want to see this. Well, we'll build in a whole complete day where there's nothing. They just rest and relax. I like people watching. So let's add in a half a day where I could just sit in the square and watch people. And Kathy, you're so right. I don't want my stinky clothes, especially I have two boys. I don't want their dirty stinky t-shirts next to my clean clothes. So let's have a complete rest. I would also say make sure all your travel documents are in order. A lot of people forget to check passports till it's ready to go. So you want to make sure your passport, or even if you're just going out to California and you're on the East Coast, don't forget, like you said, Ava, the time zones change. And so when you're arriving or when you're changing planes, make sure you're not looking at your watch, but looking at the signs within the airport, because you'll be late to something if the time has changed. So I think super helpful advice from both of you. Those are helpful hints for everybody to take notes on. Hey, make sure you're taking those notes, by the way. You want to make sure you're getting those notes down from some helpful hints for travel. Sometimes I've heard sometimes people take one of those laundry baskets that roll into a circle and then you open and they pop up. Have you ever used any of those? When I feel like that's an extra thing to take, but I don't know if anybody does that.
I take like a little pop out, like a duffel that rolls up really tight.
Yeah.
And it lives in my suitcase. And that way I can put dirty clothes in it, but usually it doesn't come out of the suitcase until the last night when I'm trying to fit everything back in, and also be really conscious of your packing when you're doing train travel. That's all I got to say. That's a whole chat one night.
Okay.
Whole another chat.
Okay.
Oh, you're right for that because their weights are different.
Yeah, so you have to leave your luggage in a separate place than you sit. Americans should always, the train prices tickets have gone up a lot, but you should also realize that your luggage is back with everyone else's and there's not a guard or anything at it. So you try to sit near your luggage. A lot of times, if it's an event, I was there when there was a huge event coming into Frankfurt and there was nowhere to even sit. So you're trying to push your luggage. It's just, it's really hard.
Okay.
If you're doing a lot of train travel, I would have a giant backpack and a carry-on. I can't do that, but that's what I should do.
Yeah, when we were in Italy, we had two big suitcases and small roller bags. I was just like, this is a nightmare trying to get these onto the trains.
Oh,
so it's basically 4 roller bags.
Oh, the mind your gap. Now, when you're in the big cities, it's easier to get off the train, but you get out in these little cities, there could be a space as big as 6 inches. You're not rolling that bag on. It's going to fall in the gap.
Yeah.
And you're
forget about it.
And you're tired already usually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's rough.
Yeah. Well, and also I had read somewhere if you have someone porter it, the weights had to be lower also than a plane ride. Like I think if it's 50 for a US plane, I thought it was 40. And also if you're doing intra-country flights, you have to pay attention to those before you go, because sometimes those weights are different as well. So
Also on that, a lot of times you might fly in, say you're going to fly into Belize City, but then you're going out to one of the little islands. We went to
that's right.
Cayo Espanto. They're a private island. That's their other name, Cayo Espanto. And the little plane that you're getting on can't even hold that. I mean, that kind of luggage at all. They actually, when they put you on the plane, they just eyeball how much they think you weigh, and they adjust everybody where they're sitting in the plane. So
That's right.
they're not taking a checked piece of luggage. You'll have to have a carry-on for that second plane.
Yeah, they're like, no. So it helps again to have those travel documents, have that information ahead of time so you can adjust accordingly. Yeah. I hope what am I trying to say? I can't even get it out. I agree with you all on that. You have to have all that information just so that you're set up for success and you're not stressing over all those little details. I wanted to make sure that I give you each time to talk about where they can find you if you have any upcoming events or a book, or where they can find you on Instagram. So I wanted to start with you, Kathy. If you could just talk about, do you have any upcoming events, or at least mention your Instagram, because I want to make sure that people know where to find you.
I don't have any upcoming events this spring, but you can find me on my page is called Confidence and Adventure, and it's geared towards more 50 plus, but everybody's welcome to come and take a look and enjoy the page. But it's called Confidence and Adventure, and that's where you can find me.
And Ava, for you, thank you, Kathy. And Ava, for you?
I'm everywhere as Spa Travel Gal. Spa Travel Gal, mainly on Instagram. So just find me on Instagram. And if you follow me or want to chat, just send me a DM. Say I was at the Let's Talk Travel event, and I would love to connect with you. Also, if let's see, my next couple travels, if you're interested in going to a ranch, I've got a ranch coming up. Again, that Vermejo in New Mexico. And then this year, I've already got Lake Como and Portofino scheduled. And then an Ama Waterways cruise, which will be interesting. I've done a Viking and the barge, and I've done regular cruising. I'd like to see, this is the Danube. I finally learned how to say it, the Danube River. So those are going to be things I've never done before. And that's some countries I've never been to. And that's going to be very interesting for me.
And Ama's a fabulous river cruise. I've cruised on them twice. I did Vietnam with them, and then I did the Christmas markets with Ama. Yes, girl. Yes.
I seem to always hit the cities right as they're setting up, which I get there too early.
Yeah, I loved it. And I did a little pre-Switzerland. So I spent 5 days in Switzerland before I got on the river cruise. So I love, if I'm traveling all that way, to spend time in a country before I get on the ship. Yeah, it's fabulous. I love it. All right. Well, I just want to ask any last, let's see, a tip. What's one travel tip that you would give to those that have traveled a little bit but want to try something new? Let's leave them with some little golden nugget of yours.
Ooh, we've said so many now. I'm trying to think.
Like, what are you known for? A golden nugget? Okay, Ava.
Crossbody pocketbook. A small crossbody, because when you get on the plane, you can either hide it under your jacket or make sure that somehow you can squish it into your carry-on or your personal item. But if you have that, you need that because you're going to have to get stuff in and out, in and out. So I don't care if you have a personal item, you're still going to have a small crossbody. And if you get called out on it, you can squish it down in the personal item. That's my tip.
I love it.
I agree with Ava. Crossbody is very important, but I also think that you have to have your own water bottle because sometimes water isn't always accessible to you. So it's important for you to bring your water bottle with you before you
I
leave.
love that.
I
I love that, Kathy. I love both of those suggestions, and they're easy to get and can be stylish too, because your water bottle can make a statement. It can be colorful like you are, and same with your crossbody bag. So, and that can still be used and worn even when you're just walking about town. So you can use those. Yeah, I love that.
items.
I love it. And they make all kinds of colorful, fashionable items on both of those. And if you're in Europe or whatever, the water's fine. You can just refill it. And I love that. And even in the airport, they have water stations now where you can just fill up your water bottle. Because I always feel like if you're on a plane, they never bring water fast enough. I'm always thirsty. I'm always thirsty. So I love it. Bring my own water bottle. Although I have lost 3, I think, last year because I forgot to pick them up off the floor. So I need my own supply. Well, ladies, I just want to thank you again. I love each of you. I love what you do and what you bring to the travel space. We need those voices out there and taking care of clients. They're absolutely needed. But I also love your voice, what you do on Instagram and in your space. And I adore both of you so very much. I just want to give a huge thank you again for being here tonight. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I adore you very, very much.
Thank you. We adore you too. I love looking at your pictures too and all your outfits. So
well, thank you, ladies. I want to wish you a happy good night. A good night, however you say it, but have a great night, ladies. And I'll see you soon.
And it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Weren't they fabulous? They had so much great information, from travel tips to things they can't leave behind. Maybe that you have some similarities with them too. I'm a shoe gal, but Kathy loved her glasses. We also loved hats and sunglasses. Some of their helpful hints too about bringing us their own water bottle to having a crossbody bag that can also fit into your carry-on if needed. Those were really applicable tips. So even if you were just traveling within your own state, those are great tips to have too. So hopefully you took lots of notes. They had great information to even how they became inspired to travel and their first memory of travel. So I hopefully you took lots of notes. I did too. I loved everything that they had to say. And remember where you can find them on Instagram at Spa Travel Gal. That was Ava Roxanne Stritt. And for Kathy Fortner, it's you can find her at Confidence and Adventure. So make sure you follow them. I just adore them. And I was just so thankful and grateful to have them here. I want to move on to about myself, really, and how I came up with Let's Talk Travel. I have been in the business of travel, well, my whole life, really, because I have really loved the idea of travel, of traveling, of different cultures almost my whole life. I want to say since age 6, really. But I want to take you through a little bit about me. If you want to follow along, it's page 6. It's the senses of travel. And page 17 or 18 or 19, I don't know, depending on how many notes you've taken tonight. But in the ebook, you can find the senses on page 5 and, page 6. Page 6. And take some notes starting on page 17, 18, or 19, like I said, wherever you have room in your book. But I want to take you through a little bit about this little girl who's from a small town. And in her state, it has the largest bunch of land in her state, but it has the smallest population because it's mostly farmland, cows, vegetables, just trying to paint you a picture of what it is. So there's a lot of farmers where she's from. Now, she didn't grow up on a farm, but just imagine it's mostly rural. And she went to school every day. And at age 6, 6, she asked her mom if she could go to dance class. She didn't need to be prodded. She just wanted to go to dance. She loved music. She loved to dance. She loved to twirl around on her toes. And she was very competitive even at a young age. So her mom took her to dance and she got her first outfit. It was blue, a blue bodysuit and pink tights because there was a uniform there. And she was really, really proud of it. And during those lessons, she got exposed to French language because the words for in ballet are in French. And so she was exposed early to the French language. And for vacations, she used to go to camping. That's what they could afford. They could afford camping, which was fine. She was kind of a tomboy, even though she was taking ballet lessons. You don't have to be one note. You can be a multi-layer person. And she would look for lizards and look for animals and frogs and climb trees and play sword fighting with sticks. And she loved that. She really enjoyed camping. But then at 9, something magical happened. The little girl's me, and I got to go on my very first overseas trip to Canada. Because I grew up in Ohio, and Canada, Niagara Falls, was only 3.5 hours away. That's right. I went to Niagara Falls, Canada. Back then, you didn't need passports. You could just drive over the border. And I got to wear pantyhose for the first time. And back then, clogs were making their very first appearance. I think they're around again, but clogs were making their very first appearance. So I had clogs that were like heels and my pantyhose. And for our first adventure, we went on the Maid of the Mist. And it went near the falls and then it went away. And then went near the falls and it went away. And are we going to go under them or not? Oh, the mist is spraying on our face. Oh, no, it's not. And it just kept doing that. And we go, whoa, ah, whoa, ah. Oh my gosh. That was our very first adventure when we reached Niagara Falls. It was so exciting. I tell you, I'm in a different world. There's people speaking different languages. I'm in this boat. And oh my gosh, am I going to go under the falls or not? And we didn't, but it was so fun. And we were laughing the whole entire time. It was super exciting. And then after that, we went over the gorge. And you are strapped in this cable car on a cable going over the gorge of Niagara Falls. It's this water. Listen, people, I am not at all happy with heights. It's like my kryptonite. I am not about the heights. And then I have a dad who is rocking the car, right? Rocking the car, rocking the car, rocking the car. And there's the gorge way down below. And he's rocking the car. And are we going to fall? Oh, we're going to fall. No, we're not going to fall. So I wasn't excited with that part, but we're in the moment and looking around. And what do we see? We see the water and we hear the water. And I'm touching and really grasping for life on the side of the car. And what do we hear? We're hearing the water. We're seeing the water. I'm feeling the car under my hands. And I'm seeing all the greenery around me. And I can really smell the water bubbling up. Next stop we go to is the second most place visited in Niagara Falls. And it's this clock made of flowers because all the honeymooners go and get their pictures taken by this flower clock. And of course, we have to wait for everybody to get their picture taken, but we go and get our picture taken. And that's my experience. Oh yeah, there's the Skylon Tower and we go up and we eat dinner there. And it slowly rotates so you can see all of Niagara Falls. And that's my experience, my first overseas experience. So I got to see the Maid of the Mist, see the Niagara Falls close up. I got to feel the spray on my face. I got to smell. I really got to smell. I bet you I could have reached out and touched it. Well, we probably weren't that close. But I got to smell the water. I got to hear that water rushing down, gallons upon gallons upon gallons of water, tasting the water on my taste buds. That's what it was like for my very first overseas trip. And I was hooked. Between the French and ballet and my overseas trip, it was like a rush. Where is my next trip coming from? Where's my next trip? So time kept going. I started learning French in school because it made sense to me. I was learning French and ballet, right? So it made perfect sense to me. And I loved it. I eventually got to go to France, to Paris, and to other parts of France. And it made sense. And I could speak and I could understand and I could read the signs because it made sense to me. And I enjoyed the food and I understood the culture and I could listen to the music and read the magazines because it made sense to me because I should have been there already. And I loved it. But I wanted more because travel to me, the music to me, it made sense to me. It made sense to my body because it had already been altered from that very first trip. It had already been altered from that ballet class because I was hooked. I needed more. That's what travel can do for you. It can change you. You're exposed to other parts of the world. You're exposed to other cultures by eating the food, by listening to the music, by talking to people. That's how you learn about other parts of the world, about other people, about other food, about other cities, about other experiences. That's how you learn about it. But to truly understand, to truly experience something, I like to say that it's layered and experienced by the five senses. Now, why five senses? Because if you layer upon layer upon layer of all your senses, you'll truly get a deeper understanding, a deeper appreciation, a deeper experience of that part of the world, of that country. Deeper experience. That you'll walk away with something unbelievable, something that will have touched you deeply. Why go through the motions of something? Why do anything if you are not moved by something, if your soul is not touched? Why give to a charity if you don't believe in their mission? And that's what I mean about travel. Travel should move you. Travel should fill your soul. And that's what the five senses does for you. It fills up your soul. You are truly moved when you experience something through your five senses. So the first one is touching the world. So when you touch something, it's not just, oh, I brushed against it, I'm done. No. Listen, my travel besties, listen to me. You're touching something. It could be holding a cup of coffee where the grounds were just picked by the special farm where they're only found in that location. So you're touching the cup. You're smelling that blend. There's two senses. You're seeing it come to life. In a cafe where it's only brewed in that location. That's what I mean by experience it through the five senses. I'll tell you a story. When I went to Korea, both of my kids are adopted, both my sons. And we went to Korea to pick him up. We finally got a match. So we traveled to Korea. And the night before we were going to pick him up, we were traveling and seeing some of the sites that we had seen decades before when we were living there. And there was this band. And I thought, oh, man, this is great. Because I believe that songs imprint that location on you, imprints that memory on you, so that when you hear that song, that memory comes up. So they were playing this song. I'm like, my husband's like, we should probably get that, which he never does. He listens to talk radio people. He never volunteers really to get the music, but he said, we should get this. I'm like, oh yes. And they were playing pan flutes and it was really magical. Well, it turns out it wasn't Korean music, but it was Peruvian music and like sounds from Inca. And I was like, oh my God, we started laughing at each other, but we still had the CD. And so after we brought our son home and we would walk around the neighborhood, I would play that music because it just reminded me of this special time in our life. And we were bonded forever to that song that was like Freedom Flight, flight of the, whatever it was, some kind of bird. And we were bonded forever. So whenever those songs come up, I still remember that time when we were adopting our son and had picked him up, flew over to Korea to pick him up and bring him home. Flight of the Condors. See, I knew I'd remember it. Flight of the Condors. So again, we are feeling the breeze around us. We hear the music. So again, we have the sight of the tower that we were by. We hear the music. We feel the breeze. We're holding each other's hand. We have all of that imprinting this experience on us. I can give you example after example, but this is really, you can do this in your everyday lives. Let's say you're going to have a lunch with your bestie or a friend or whoever, fill in the blank. I'm going to say I'm going out to lunch with my bestie. So today we went to experience a new sushi restaurant. So we walk in there and we hear, the people talking. When we get our menu, first we sip the new tea. Then he delivers the miso soup. We smell the soup. We taste the soup. We look at each other, right? We hear the music in the background. Right there is 3 layers of touching, tasting, seeing, smelling. We're hearing the music. We're hearing each other's conversation. We're commenting on the food. We see the person making the sushi. See how an everyday experience can be elevated through the 5 senses. Now imagine that everyday experience being your destination for travel. See the experience through the 5 senses. That is what traveling through the 5 senses is all about. It's going to elevate your experience. Now, I came to that. I was, several years ago, I was thinking about providing a presentation. And after I had gone through this other presentation, somebody was giving, they were just, he was launching his brand and his mentor had given a presentation. And I thought, well, there's got to be a better way to present what I'm talking about. And I hadn't called it the 5 senses yet. That was still coming. I hadn't completely formulated it yet. But I had revamped how I was going to present travel. So I guess it was in its infancy stage. And it was well received. But again, I still needed to elevate it. So this fall, I was on a trip with a great friend of mine. We used to work together, Teresa. I think she's on here. And where were we at? Were we Belize? No, it wasn't Belize. I can't remember. Oh, Puerto Plata. I can't remember. Sorry. I can't remember now. Anyway, so we were walking around and we happened to see these flowers. Oh, they were so beautiful and magical, really vibrant. And then we could hear the birds. So just in that moment, we experienced the 5 senses just in that moment because we could hear the birds, we could see the flowers and smell the flowers. I didn't want to touch just in case they were poisonous, but I held her hand because we were just in that moment together as humans experiencing this. I might have been panting a little. She might have heard me panting because we had to walk a lot. So that she might have heard that. But actually, it was the bird calls and maybe a little panting for me. But that's what I'm talking about. You're taking an ordinary moment and making it extraordinary. And not to sound cliche, that's not what I'm trying to do at all. But I'm trying to show you how you can apply those things to life, but definitely to travel. Now, I have a friend of mine, she's going to do some traveling in Paris. But how do you up Paris? Oh, we're going to see all these monuments. Okay, but it can be more than just monuments. It can be more than just seeing all these iconic places. Why don't we try to do something through the five senses? We could do something like macaroon making. Oh, well, that sounds exciting. Why don't we do something like perfume making? Whoa, we could do something like that. But you can do something like that. What if you are into animals? My son loves animals. I thank goodness. Maybe I pointed him that way because I love animals. So I always try to find something for him that involves animals, like feeding ostriches. But then when he took my picture, he took it like half of my body's missing. So you just see my hands and the ostrich beak like this. That's all you see. But it's funny. And then he started taking all the pictures, only half of me. So maybe that wasn't so funny. But what I'm saying is trying to bring out and celebrate somebody. But even in that experience, we could see the cactus, we could see the ostrich, we could hear them, we could see them run, but we got to feed them. So we could feel that too. And never forget that, because again, everything is detailed and layered. So I want to talk about culture for a moment, because we're talking about the different tastes and the different seasonings and different spices. One time I took a walking tour of Puerto Rico. So I like to tease my husband and say that his love language is eating. I know that's not a love language, but I'm just making one up for him because I think it's applicable. So we took this walking tour of Puerto Rico, and every stop you got to either taste something like a frizo, like a little freezer pop, or we tasted a place that makes rum, but we stopped at different places in old town in Puerto Rico. So it was also, you got to see different sites, like the smallest house in Puerto Rico. And so it was really cool. And then also tasting. So I think that's a really cool event. But what did that do? That kind of tour does a combination of seeing the sites, tasting the sites, experiencing their culture, because you're also hearing some of the music in these locations, right? And you're feeling the breeze. One place was, we got to look over the old fort there. So again, you're seeing some of their history. You're getting some of their culture, right? You're getting to see the breezes, feel the breezes, hearing the music, and it's all part of their culture. You're experiencing that by layering it upon layer upon layer. And that's what I love about it. I want to talk about what travel has added to my life. Well, travel has added, I'm a mom because I have 2 kids. Travel has changed my soul because why has it changed my soul? Because I've had the opportunity. I was traveling long before I joined the military. For those that don't know, I've been in the Army not now. I retired from the Army after 29 years. So I traveled in the Army. I traveled with my husband while we served outside of it for pleasure. I traveled before the military, and now I travel after the military because I love it. Last year, I think I traveled 14 times, some for work, some for pleasure. And so we usually make our list. We have next year's list already started because we need to plan. But it's afforded me the opportunity to meet new people, to discover new lands, to discover new cultures, to discover music, to discover new foods. I know when I was in Africa, it was all spicy food. I was stuck there. I was stuck there because I told somebody I would come and support them for their church service. So it looked like everything was spicy. So the dish said something fruit in it, like fruit something. So I said, "Oh, fruit. Okay, I can't go wrong with this, right?" That was just the name. It was still spicy. And I couldn't get out of it because they're all staring at me looking to see if I loved it. Of course I did. Not really. Of course I did. Not really. But I ate some of it with a lot of their mashed plantain. So or no, cassava, mashed cassava. So that's what I had. And I tried to move it around a lot because my stomach would not like me afterwards. But I got to learn a lot about Africa. I got to learn about, this was in Liberia, but the food was cooked by Nigerians. So I got to learn about their church service. I got to learn about their food. I got to learn about their music. See, when you say yes to adventure, you're opening yourself up to other cultures, to life. I mean, can you imagine just sitting home? I mean, I can't. But maybe you're afraid. Maybe you're afraid to take that first step. Maybe you're waiting for somebody to say, do this. So I'll tell you, do it. Take the first step. If you're afraid, then take a weekend in your home state. Hear about a spot that you've been hearing about, go to that. One night, 2 nights, right? 1 night or 2 nights. Take the first step because you will be forever changed. Go and visit something. Excuse me. Go and visit something that you've read about in that town. Just do it. Take the first step. Excuse me. Take the first step. Just do it. Thank you. You'll be richer for it. Try a new dish. I don't like to get the same dish. I don't like to get the same dish. I don't like to be habitual. I don't like to be the same. Try something new. That's a start. Go to a restaurant you haven't tried. Try something new. Get your passport. That's a first step. And listen, they're taking a couple months. So get your passport tomorrow. You'll have to make an appointment and download the paperwork. Make your appointment. Get your passport. If you're looking for someone to say yes to you, I'm saying yes to you. I'll be your travel bestie. I'll guide you through. I already told you about my Pinterest. Look on that for inspiration. If you don't want to leave the US, go to New York City. Go to St. Petersburg in Florida. Go to Utah or California. We have beautiful places here. You can do it. You can do it. Trust me. You can do it. I believe in you. I do. Because I believe in myself. So I believe in you. I know you can do it. I know you can. Okay. That's my story. That's the 5 senses. Please use them as a guide. That's why they're in the ebook. Because I truly, wholeheartedly believe in travel. It's been so great to me. It's been great to my kids. I travel with them most of the time. And that's not to be funny, but sometimes mommy, daddy needs time. So mom and dad, myself and my husband, my hubs, as I like to call them, we travel too. We try to do 1 trip a year, just the 2 of us, because moms and dads need downtime too. Sorry about that. And you don't need permission for that. But if you do, I'm granting you permission. I'm granting you permission. You need time for yourself. If you're a single mom, you need that time. Trust me, I know. Okay, let's talk about what's coming up. I am so excited to tell you what's coming up. And I hope you know everything is given to you in love and hope, because I really hope that you travel. I love travel. I love travel, and I want you to love it too. And I'll be your travel bestie. So what's coming up? On Friday, Erik Wise told you about his event. It is a red carpet event. Come as you. I'm coming as me. From 6 to 9 on Friday, I will be there. And I'll be signing my book, my ebook. I'll have little postcards to sign for you. Please come out. He'll have some nosh, and you can check out his fabulous clothes, and I'll be there supporting him. So I hope you come out. West Shore Mall in Tampa. And I have a new book coming out in June. So I hope that you come. Follow me, continue to follow me at I am Jenifer Breaux on Instagram and Facebook. Don't forget my Pinterest. I have my Pinterest. I am Jenifer Breaux. Also my website. If you're watching this, but didn't get the ebook, remember to get my ebook at IamJeniferBreaux.com, and also my blogs. Don't forget my blogs. Tons of great information in there. There's a new one every week that comes out, usually Thursday nights. And there's a blog link at the top. There's a blog link at the top. So a new one comes out weekly. I hope that you got a lot of information. I hope you got a lot of information. I'm so sorry. Hope you got a lot of information tonight. I'm so excited that you were here, that you joined us tonight, got my ebook, or download my ebook, or sign up for it at IamJeniferBreaux.com. We'll be doing more of these lives. Oh, I have an actual book, Travel is Possible. So that is for caregivers of the neurodiverse. So if you're a parent or caregiver, the neurodiverse, I actually have a book, Travel is Possible, and you can get that from Amazon. So look forward to seeing you Friday from 6 to 9. Download, sign up for my blogs, events, new information at I am Jenifer Breaux. And thank you again for joining us tonight. I'll see you soon.